Fuad back on Behind the Gloves with another interview. I'm joined by the one and only Shane McGuigan here in Manchester. Shane, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, looking forward to Saturday night, first fight with Anthony Fowler. Unfortunately, his opponent pulled out, Jack Flatley, but hopefully we'll have a nice replacement in the next couple of hours. So just sort of waiting on that phone call, really.
As a coach, how do you sort of keep a fighter's mentality intact? I know Anthony's Fowler is always going to be, his mentality is always going to be straightforward, ready to fight. But with a change of opponent, what's the strategy do you take, especially when it comes to fight week?
Well, hopefully, I'm working with the matchmakers, trying to get someone that's going to be quite similar to Flatley, someone that's quite aggressive. But it's down to a boxer. I mean, he's boxed as an Olympian, he's boxed all over the world as an amateur. A lot of the time, you don't know who the hell you're boxing until a few hours before, maybe the night before. So it's not going to deter him at all. It's just the whole way through our camp we've been working to, I know like he's got the beating of Jack Flatley, no matter who's training him. It's just trying to make sure he's he's improving on his technique, making sure he's bettering himself as a boxer and working towards his strengths and gelling with the style. So it's not going to really offset him too much or myself really. It's just a bit of disappointment because I know that Flatley was fit and game and he would have come and put up a real good show. And sometimes these late replacements, you can get guys that just come in, take a quick payday and fall over. But that's why I'm working strongly with the matchroom matchmakers to make sure someone's going to come to at least have a go and get a win.
He's obviously moved to you, like you said, it's the first fight with you. When he did move to you, what specifics did you look at and think, all right, we can work on this, what can we expect on Saturday that's going to be different about Fowler?
Well, I think, he's a 6 foot light middleweight. He's got long arms, he's a hard puncher. He's not the most fleet-footed lad, but he's got fantastic timing. So for me, I was working on not getting him to slip and roll as much because of his length. He is 6 foot, he's got long arms, so he doesn't need to be slipping and rolling. I think he was too aggressive of his last few fights. That could be a mentality thing, and like it's nothing against someone like Dave Caldwell or anything like that. It's just it could be the boxer's mindset, just thinking, all right, well, I'm getting success because I'm just pressurising these guys, and then he steps up and sort of come unstuck a little bit against Fitzgerald. So moving forward, it's just making sure that even though you might be getting success, stick to what you're good at, get behind your jab, and that's it really. Just sort of working on bringing out the long range punches and using his length a little bit more.
All right, looking forward to Saturday. Obviously, let's move on. Let's talk about another fight in your camp, Lawrence Okolie. He's obviously been in contention for a title shot. Just explain what's going on there, what's going to happen, when is he fighting? Is it going to be on the AJ Pulev undercard?
That was a potential schedule, but I think the latest discussions have been that the WBO say that that's too far away and the title's been vacant for too long. So it could be on in late May. I think there could be another show going on.
6 Chisora possibly?
Potentially, yeah. We could potentially have it on that card. I'm even trying to get it on the White Povetkin card. The thing is it's. I know Eddie's got a handful of fighters that he needs to keep busy and happy, but Lawrence Okolie is. He's going to be soon. He's soon going to be a world champion, I believe, and it's a huge fight for him, and we just need to go out there and get that win against a former world champion and someone that's also super. He's super dangerous. So. It's a big step up for Lawrence, but I would rather it sooner than waiting all this time because he's young and he's been active for a long, for the majority of his career. I don't want these long.
He's gone through the steps really, hasn't he?
Exactly, and he's had Ngannou was a really tough fight in his last fight. It wasn't the cleanest, but that was their tactics. He was not much taller than me, Ngannou, short, stocky guy. So obviously he knew he had to sort of negate the range and get in close, and it made it a little bit untidy. Whereas Glowacki punches at distance, so I think he'll be more lively, but at the same time, more dangerous for Lawrence. But at the same time, he'll be easier to hit clean himself. So it's going to be an exciting fight. And I hope we can get it in May, because then it gets him another chance to get out before August. So that's our plan.
Now, the weight division above Lawrence, the heavyweights, that's the topic on everyone's lips. And I've got to ask you about the recent performance of Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder. Obviously, shocked a lot of people in terms of the fact that he literally did what he said he was going to do, take it onto Deontay, and didn't really box him or do what he usually does. Were you surprised? And as a coach, would you have advised him, a similar thing?
Yeah, I feel like, as a sometimes. Well, not sometimes. A lot of the time, with someone like Deontay Wilder, who's a really, really hard puncher, but he gets the maximum power at the end of the shot. The best thing to do with those guys is to go into them, push them back, get them offset. And it was fantastic tactics from Sugar and from Andy Lee, Team Fury, to go out there and implement that. He also came in a bit heavier. I also believe that was a big factor, because he's coming down 10 stone in weight. He doesn't need to get down to a certain weight because he won against Klitschko at that weight. He's filled out a bit more. You let him be a little bit heavier, and that's that added massively to his punching power. He came out there. He's never going to be a one-shot sort of knock you out sort of guy, but he's got enough power and pop to sort of hit you around the sides of the head and hurt you and keep you in place. And you saw it in an amazing performance against Deontay Wilder, and I believe he's got his number. He outboxed him in the first fight, took it to him in the second fight, and I just feel like he's Deontay Wilder's bogeyman.
I feel both him and AJ have had the best performances of their career in terms of what was at stake. Obviously, Joshua in Saudi boxed beautifully against Ruiz. Didn't gasp for the first time, because usually he's stocky, he cut down in weight and he did really well. Tyson obviously switched up and put pressure on. If those two were to clash this year, how would you see that playing out now? And obviously taking off from their last performance.
Well, I think AJ is he's not as big of a puncher as Wilder, like with a single shot, but he's got fast hands, quicker hands. He punches in combination. He can punch mid to short range as well. Whereas Wilder, once you get close to him, he can't throw combinations. He just can't do it. He can't throw combinations. It's all big one single shots. So I think that, and as a style wise, is going to be a lot harder for Tyson Fury to overcome. And I believe if AJ wins, I really feel like it's going to be within the first 6. All right, mate. See ya. See ya, mate. I think it will be within the first 6, and if it goes past that, I can see a Fury on points, because, or even potentially a late stoppage, because I think it's going to be a fight at 2 halves. But nothing surprises me in that heavyweight division. It's always lit,
Keeping on that fact, nothing surprises us in the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder came out and said, the 40-pound suit restricted his ability on the fight, I should say. His legs were gone before the fight. As a coach, how do you react to that? Because we don't want to disrespect, because you don't know what the truth is behind it, but it shocked a lot of people, because you don't expect that from someone like Deontay Wilder, who usually wears that type of suit into the ring.
I think it looked like he had a perforated eardrum. Looked like he had a cut in his ear, a big load of swelling. He had excuses that he could have gone to, really, if he was going to go down that excuse route. He went with that one. It was a surprising comment. AJ, for instance, said the better man won against Andy Ruiz and got beaten up. Obviously, there was issues going on there in camp. Probably didn't spar the best. There was definitely issues in the Deontay Wilder camp. He put on nearly a stone between the Ortiz fight and then the Fury fight. And when you're training twice a day, potentially 3 times a day, eating all that food, it doesn't matter how much food you're eating. It's hard to put on a stone, especially when you're a heavyweight. You're not going to be fluctuating as much. So maybe he didn't spar as much. Maybe he didn't didn't dedicate himself as much behind the scenes, in the training camp. So that's what he could have gone with. And to come out and say that it was a suit, he just didn't look right from the get-go. His legs didn't look like they were underneath him. Didn't look like he had a spring in his step. Looked slow on the pads in the warm-up. As soon as I seen him on the pads, I thought, oh, this is going to be Fury all night.
The heaviest he weighed in as well, so.
Yeah, heaviest, and I think some people can carry the weight and some people can't. And I truly believe that was a there was something going on there in camp. But do I think it's going to change in the third fight? Probably not.
Same result?
I'm going to have to go with that same result because I believe he won the first one. He got taken away from him, and I think he dominated him in the next one, and I just think he's got it in his head.
All right, Shane, thank you for your time, and all the best on Saturday night.
Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking the icon right here, and also hit the bell button so that you can get alerts every time we upload a new video.